like to begin by asking you to answer a question in your last and final round. The question that I'd like you to answer is, if mutual affection and commitment is the essence of marriage, then there's no principle in that that would disallow incestual marriages?
Yes, there is, because incest can have, you bring in recessive genetic factors. There are good sound genetic reasons for forbidding incest.
But older couples, then would you forbid marriage between older couples? Because there are a lot of health risks involved with older couples having children.
What you are getting there into is something that goes far beyond the whole slippery slope argument, basically what you're bringing up there. And that goes far beyond the basic essence here, which is, and it can be the subject for a separate debate. But for the present here, what is being pushed for is equality. Marriage, as it presently stands, subject to the changes, the happy changes that have occurred in 6 jurisdictions or so recent time. Marriage, as it has stood, is the formalized, recognized relationship between two affectionately based relationships between two people, and what is being pushed here is precisely the same to be extended to same-sex couples. Beyond that, the whole slippery slope argument, which you brought up and you're hard to first bring it up, of incest, polygamy, and all of that, that can be the subject for an additional debate sometime, but it goes beyond what we're discussing today.
But would you admit to me right now that the conclusion that you're drawing, that we would have to limit marriage to two individuals based on the principle that you're defining marriage with does not follow? So if you say that marriage is about mutual affection and commitment, that allows multiple people to marry, you know.
As I'm saying, you get there into the slippery slope argument, which can be the valid subject for another debate another time.
Okay.
I did want to say one other thing. You brought up as many people in opposition to the book by Kirk and Madsen. The entire conservative far right has read Kirk and Madsen and believes that gays believe it. I don't know of one single one of my associates who has ever read Kirk and Madsen. We know of it, I've heard of it. They came up with no new ideas, which I haven't been pursuing. That book came out, I think, about 1988 more or less, which I haven't been pursuing for 30 years, 25 years before that, and a lot of others with me. So that bringing up Kirk and Madsen is sort of really irrelevant to anything that's really going on in terms of the gay rights movement.
Okay, all right. So essentially, the one major so starting back on my time, the major point that I want to make here is that it is not a slippery slope to argue that making the principle of marriage mutual affection and commitment allows right now, not in a slippery slope, not somewhere down the road, that principle allows for polygamy. The principle of mutual affection and commitment allows for polygamy. It allows for incest. So that can't be the principle that is the essence.
It doesn't allow for incest.
It does if they're both of 18 and up. If they're within the age of consent, it would allow for incest. Or you'd have to refuse the right to marry to older couples who have equally, are equally capable of producing, biological defects in children. So that can't, mutual affection commitment cannot be the essence of marriage for that reason. And now, I'd like to state that Mr. Kameny admitted that being born gay is questionable, and that we don't know for certain whether or not persons are born gay. At least he doesn't know for certain. I do, because I realize that emotions are fluid. They change. Reason is fixed. You order your emotions in accord with reason by way of your will. It's called temperance, and prudence is the art of acting out that temperance. Your thoughts lead to your words lead to your actions lead to your habits become your character, and your character is your destiny, as Aristotle so aptly put it. So that is the deal here. Now, the method by which people develop same-sex attraction, Ellen DeGeneres' stepfather attempted to molest her multiple times. She developed a fear for her father, generalized it onto all men. You've got girls that are seeking attention at parties that engage in same-gender sex acts. You've got men that do it for power in prison. You've got people that do it for money in the pornography industry and in prostitution. You've got people that are desensitized, become hypersexual. They need a greater and greater high. You've got children that are raised by close binding mothers. They develop effeminate accents, develop effeminate interests. They relate to the girls at school. They develop mimetic desire, tend to desire what the girls that they relate to desire. They can develop false memories, self-fulfilling prophecies. There is 100 years of psychological literature about the fact that the method by which people develop same-sex attraction. 100 years of it.
All of which is baseless. And the point is, and the point there is, you cannot validly discuss any of that without discussing symmetrically the reasons for which people develop opposite sex attraction. You have to deal with both equally, and they don't. They simply assume that heterosexuality is the default condition if nothing has come along to divert people from it. That is not scientific. That provides you with no explanation. You have to explain heterosexuality fully as much as homosexuality. Let me give you an example. One of the classic theories that goes back to Dr. Bieber in 1962 in his book, in which he claimed that male homosexuality develops when you have a strong binding mother and a distant father, and that if that's your family constellation. If that is your family constellation, then male heterosexuality develops when you have a strong binding father and a distant mother. Symmetry. You have to look at both, and they just simply don't. And as long as they don't, then all of your theories as to the origins of homosexuality are absolutely meaningless. Now, the other point you brought up, endlessly, you refer to restraints and changes of appetites and all of that. We consider our being gay as a wonderful stroke of good fortune and good luck. Why on earth should we wish to change? We don't. Why should we want to swap what is for us a first-class superior homosexuality for what would be for us, not you but for us, a second-class inferior heterosexuality? We don't. So even if change were simple, easy, quick, convenient, and possible, none of which it is, certainly for males, we haven't the slightest desire to do it, and we're not going to. And not going to, and remaining the homosexuals that we find it wonderful to be, we demand equality in every aspect of societal treatment and functioning of us, including our marriages on par with yours. And again, there is, as long as America is true to itself and Americanism is truly followed, there is no reason why that should not be achieved.
All right. Just to reiterate, the principle mutual affection would open up the definition of marriage not as a slippery slope, but as a cause-effect relationship to polygamous unions, incestuous unions, and all that. So, not only that, but Mr. Kameny did admit that people aren't born gay. The method by which same-sex attraction develops is different for different people. He concedes that point. And so the point becomes sodomy. And Mr. Kameny notes that a large percentage of persons engage in sodomy, whether it be homosexual or heterosexual. Now, the law, what we're talking about here is marriage. And people may engage in any type of behavior that they see fit, but that behavior is not the essence of marriage. sodomy is not the essence of marriage. Reproduction and education of children is a function of marriage. Now, if you're going to talk about whether or not sodomy is legalized or criminalized, you're going to talk about Lawrence v. Texas, and I already went over that.